Hello dear learners, I am a teacher at Bukhara State University, Pulatova Sh X. Let's begin from our topic, problem solving. The first one is, let's speak about developing life skills. What is it? Life is full of crises, problems and decisions, but many people don't have the appropriate skills to manage them. The second one, much of what we think of problematic behavior in a client can be viewed as the consequence of ineffective behavior and thinking. The next one is the individual is unable to resolve certain dilemmas in his or her life. The next one, the unproductive attempts to do so have adverse effects such as anxiety and depressions, not to mention the creation of additional problems such as confrontations and interpersonal conflict. Think about it. The next one, for the professionals, the way to decode the client's sometimes incomprehensible actions is to ask yourself what he or she is trying to achieve. This is a question. Think about this a minute. So, often what the client is trying to achieve is the narrowing of the discrepancy between the actual state of affairs and the desired state of affairs. The discrepancy is a problem, and the client's solution may be making things worse. The next one, problem solving aims to reduce or eliminate this gap with some modification. So, let's continue. Most often, as problem solvers, we try to improve the actual state of affairs by finding an answer to a difficulty, a solution to a problem. Group of problem solving is generally more fruitful than individual effort. In some problem solving approach, small is not so much beautiful as manageable. Problems are not manageable when they are conceived in a large global term. For example, everything is going wrong, or he will never change, or there is no hope. Or you may say that I seem to have the world on my shoulders. You break through in the theoretic by trying to establish and obtain relevant facts. The more your clients can adopt a mental set that they can cope with the problem, the greater the likelihood that with our help they will come up with a solution to it. The feeling of being in control, not helpless, is vital to successful working throughout the difficult situation is unbelievable when you are involved in crisis interventions. So, the next one, you are relieved. The problem for the client defining what they want throughout of as impenetrable as manageable given thought, and calm application of a series of interpersonal problem solving strategies. So, let's continue from the development of problem solving skills. Interpersonal problem solving skills are learned from the experience beginning in the family and wherever the child interacts with others in situations that give rise to interpersonal difficulties. The second reason may be how well the developing child learns these skills is throughout to the reflect and extent to which the child's caregivers manifest these abilities and themselves. Also, the degree to which parents communicate in way that encourage the exercise of thought thinking in the child. The emphasis is very much on how the person thinks. So the next one, the goal interpreted by training is to generate as a way of thinking, a way of using beliefs and values in making decisions at such times the problems arises. So let's talk about interpersonal problem-solving skills. Problem sensitivity can be divided in such as ability to be aware of problems that arise out of social situations, a sensitivity to the kinds of social situation out of which interpersonal difficulties may arise, ability to examine relationship with the others in the here and now. Alternative solution training can be divided such as ability to generate a wide variety of potential solutions to the problems. Furthermore, skill is to draw from a repertoire of the ideas and representing different categories of solution to a given problem. Let's talk about brainstorming, the creative art of generating the greatest number of ideas in the shortest possible time, acceptance of every idea uncritically, and aim for quantity not quality. At this stage, don't initiate any discussion. List the ideas, set a time limit. Let's talk about means and thinking. The first one, ability to articulate the step-by-step means necessary to carry out the solution to a given interpersonal problem. Ability to recognize obstacles, the social consequences deriving from these solutions. Recognition that interpersonal problem solving takes time. Consequential thinking. It is divided into several parts. Being aware of the consequence of the social acts as they affect self and others. The next one, ability to generate alternative consequences to potential problem solution before acting. Let's talk about causal thinking. It can be divided into several ones. For example, reflect the degree of appreciation of social and personal motivation. Involves the realization that how one felt and acted may have been influenced by and in turn may have influenced how others felt and acted. Let's talk about problem-solving model. The first one, defining the problem. You should find the problem and where the problem is, and it is the severity as precisely and possibly. That entails assessing the current, or it may be actual, state of affairs, specifying the desired ideal state of affairs goals. Assessing the nature and magnitude of the problem. This entails listing the forces helping the client move towards the desired goals. Listing forces hindering the client from moving towards this goal. In force field analysis, as it's called, the problem is viewed as a balance between forces pushing in the opposite direction. The next is current state of affairs. For example, Sally's truancy. Helping forces, the family is behind her. Sally wants to return to school. The teacher is sympathetic. The first one, handling the forces. Perhaps we put too much pressure on her. She gets panically when she tries. Her schoolmates tease her when she appears. There is a bully in her classroom. Formulate alternative strategies. Let's divide it into several items. First one, this entails moving the client from the actual to the desired state of affairs, creative and divergent thinking, inventiveness, critical ability. You have to change the helping forces and the hindering forces in order to alter the current state of affairs. So let's talk about now decide and implement strategy. First of all, this entails selecting alternatives that seems most likely to succeed, specifying the now-how methods and other sources required to implement the chosen strategy. Then it can be divided into evaluate the outcome applying to the strategy. This entails defining what a successful outcome means in terms of explicit criteria. The next one, specifying what the efforts or consequences of the strategy were. Now let's talk about vignettes. The first time you meet Eliza, age 38, she's in the hospital emergency room recovering from a severe panic attack. Tears are streaming down her face and she is having difficulty telling you her story. They are trying to get rid of me. I have worked for them for 20 years. Now they make fun of my accent and accuse me of chasing customers away. They say it is my fault. The other woman is in our unit quit. I don't know what I will do. I can't just get another job. So, Eliza has been having problems at work for the last 10 months. Her difficulty started when she returned from a leave absence taken at the time of her son's death. He had been killed in a gang-related incident. He was such a good boy. I don't know why it happened. I am so alone now. I don't know what I will do if I lose my job. So, think about it and tell your opinion. So, the next vignette is, according to Sheila and Bill, their 12-year-old daughter, Rachel, has always been difficult. A couple of years ago, Rachel was seen by the psychologist who confirmed that she has been learning disability. He suggested that some of her problems in social relating may be related to the learning disorder. What finally drove them to seek your services was a recent call to Children's Protective Service by Rachel's teacher. Rachel told her teacher that Bill had become violent, breaking down her bedroom door and threatening to hit her. Shayla says the social worker came to our house and did her investigations. Well, Bill was finally cleared, but it was created such havoc. She is driving us to death. She acts as though she hates us. It has just tearing our family apart. Let's talk about vignette number 3. Our Melissa is our hero. Melissa, at the age of 3, is brought in by her mother. Emily, over the weekend, Melissa took 10 Tylenol. She said she took them because she wanted to die, but then got very scared and told her mother, who called the pediatrician. Melissa had an upset stomach but didn't require treatment. Melissa's parents separated a year ago after her father announced that he had fallen in love with another woman, was going to live with her. I never thought this could happen to us. He was the perfect dad. I really thought he loved us. Then all of a sudden, it is like someone came and stole his body, and there is this horrible person who is pretending to be my father. It is just not real. Emily sits solemnly and shaking her head in her agreement, with tears running down her face. This is a problem, Vignette 3. This was the examples of problem solving. Today our topic is ends. See you to the next class. Goodbye.